Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we'll be doing a brief overview of Starlight. Starlight is a very high complexity spirit. It is going to start in the land with Blight. If there are multiple lands with Blight, you get to pick and choose. So that would be, I think currently the only adversary that has 2 Blight on the board starting would be Sweden. So you'd be able to pick which land to start in. Looking at the summary of powers here, it is just a bunch of question marks, and that's because Starlight is build your own spirit. That's the whole point of the spirit. You're going to kind of shift and flow and eventually build the spirit to the way you want to play. And that's why it really doesn't have much offense, control, or fear, but it does have some defense, and that is tied to the skip card in your hand, and then also utility, and that's the way Starlight is able to gain cards. So let's flip the spirit board over. Starlight has 2 special rules. We have growth begets growth. And what this means is, I'm just going to give you the quick summary, is you have 6 tracks, and 4 of the tracks here, these 4, are growth tracks. And once you uncover them, you get to pick between the left-sided growth, or the right-sided growth. Now, just looking at it, you might be thinking, wow, this looks like there's a lot of moving parts. And in a way, yes, there is. But Starlight has, in my opinion, a very linear way to play that I find to yield consistent results. And once you kind of give it a go a couple times, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. You tend up drafting so many cards with Starlight, you tend to find the same cards over and over again, or over and over again across your games, and that leads to similar play styles. So that is exactly what this is saying. And then we have slowly coalescing nature. Hopefully I said that word right. What that means is you have these little Starlight symbols, and once you reveal them, you get to place a permanent element on that spot. And basically that allows you to easily threshold your innates as well as majors. The theme behind this is you're uncovering these spots, you're placing elements, and then you're shifting to that form or that element style. Let's take a look at the growth options. So Starlight is a pick 3. Now that is going to include your beginning growth options here. In addition, your growth options down over here. Now you get to pick 3 of them every turn. You have a Reclaim 1, a Presence Placement, +1 energy, and a Move a Presence. Most of the time, we're going to be picking these 2. There are some builds that utilize the Move a Presence and then the +1 energy. I think you play this 2 times a game. Usually, very rarely do you take it more than twice. But a lot of times, I mean, you're going to, yeah, I think we use the energy 2 times, the Reclaim 1 between 2 and 3. And then, yeah, we pretty much never touch that Move Presence. Looking at the choice growth options below, the first one is a Reclaim half or gaining a power card and Move a Presence. This is pretty much the build I always pick. I'm always going to be grabbing that gain a power card and Move a Presence. Some players swear by the Reclaim half, and I've seen them have quite a lot of success with it. But I find that the gaining the power cards is so consistent. I think you're able to see, I believe it's like 18 cards by the end of turn 2, which is just quite absurd. I mean, that's 1/5 of the entire minor deck that you alone get to see. So just by gaining the power cards consistently, starting on turn 1, you're able to really filter through and find the best goodies. Looking at the second growth option, we have the +3 energy and the +1 card play plus Move a Presence. I find this energy option just to be a win more. Starlight tends to have a lot of energy, mainly because Shape allows you to forget it for energy. You're gaining energy every turn from your energy tracks, and then if you draft any powerful minors like Gift of Constancy or Living Energy, Nature's Connection, stuff like that, you're going to be gaining a lot of energy. So you really don't need to choose this energy button, and usually the +1 play is just better. And that's because the +1 play lets you get another card out, which means you get to have more elements, which means you get to be thresholding your majors as well as your innates. Looking at the next growth option, we have a Reclaim All or a power card and a energy. Once again, I like to always grab this Reclaim All. What you'll find is if you grab the Reclaim All, then you tend to also grab the +1 power card gain. And if you grab the Reclaim Half, then you tend to grab the power card and energy. And there is a build that I'm currently working on where, and I will actually show this in the opening video, where I want to rush towards the power card gain turn one, and this is something I never really do, and then utilize this and try to tech towards majors easier because every time you gain power cards, you're now gaining energy. So, and hopefully it will be, or it will yield similar results to the build that I currently use. And then finally, we have Starlight's last growth option. And then that is 2 damage fast at 0 range or +1 card play and make one of your powers slow to fast. Unfortunately, this is probably well, not probably, this is the worst spot on the track. You should never take the damage. It's just so much worse than having an extra card play and a slow to fast. Okay. Looking at the tracks, Starlight has tracks that end in 4 energy and 3 plays, and then while you're moving along the plays track, you can get access to these Starlight elemental thingies, where you can kind of choose certain elements. And I usually like to choose between Earth, Water, Sun, and Plant. These are the 4 elements that I tend to favor, while I tend to not favor the other 4, and that's Fire, Air, Moon, and Animal. Usually this very first elemental spot is an Earth because it allows me to utilize the Innate on the right. So let's look at the right Innates. And something that a lot of players mess up is they forget that these Innates, it's 2 different elements, but they share the same land targeting. So you can't choose 2 different lands. So they may think, I could push something and then defend something and then do that in 2 different lands. No, unfortunately, it has to be the same land. So looking at the air threshold, it is push 2 explorers or push 1 town. This is pretty bad. I rarely use this. It's just so much worse than the Earth, which is a defend 5. You guys know I think defend is the best way to play this game, and it yields such consistent results. Also, defend 5 is so important because it lines up into Explorer Town City, which is 6 damage. It also lines up into like City Explorer from from Sweden because this is 6 damage, or it lines up great into Town Explorer with an adjacent town, which is, oh, actually it's slightly below that, but because that would be 7 damage. I'm thinking Habsburg, but I guess just Town Explorer, which is France. So I mean, the defend 5 is just so strong. It's probably a little bit too good. It probably should be 4, but I'm not complaining. So let's look at the next threshold. We have the fire and water. Once again, they have to target the same land. The land you do the damage and the blight removal have to be the same land. And a lot of times this water is excellent. I'm going to put a plus sign there. Very, very strong. There's a lot of water Starlight builds that try to prioritize the blight healing. And then your goal is to kind of support the team. This fire, it's not terrible. I just think it's like, okay. It's like, this is balanced. This is probably a little bit too good, but I don't know how to make this weaker without making it useless, if that makes sense. But yep. Okay. Looking at the plant animal, I think both of these are great. I have no complaints. I think the plants is just a little clunky because you have to choose a spirit with presence and target land. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But yeah, I think both of these are pretty reasonable, though I do prefer, once again, that plant. And just going back to what I said earlier, remember I like playing a earth, plant, water style of play, and then ideally if I can get sun in. Moon, this is a gathering an explorer or Dahan or gather 3 explorers. Once again, these are both pretty good. So just like looking at all of these thresholds, right? Only the air is the one that I'm like, nah, stay away from. And then maybe fire. But like the rest, you have a ton of great options. I mean the moon is not bad. It's just you can't you're not able to prioritize everything. So this tends to get pushed out because the earth and water tend to be so critical. And then finally the sun, which is a you need 4 sun instead of 3, and you get 3 fear, gain an energy, and then reclaim a power card. It's very strong. It's just it requires a massive commitment, and when you commit to the Force Sun, you tend to get pushed away from the other thresholds. Now, there are some builds where you use like Gifted Constancy, or maybe you're thresholding a major like Vigor, and you can easily hit the sun, and then it's really strong. But I find that you either go all in on the sun, or you can kind of tech into two or three of the above elemental thresholds. I kind of think of Starlight as a build your own spirit, and it has a very defined early game where you're going to be defending with the Earth Innate, the Water Innate, stopping Blight from coming down, and then this mid game where you transition into majors, and that's where you're throwing down your heavy hitting powers like Vigor or Forest of Living Obsidian, those very big majors that you've drafted while building yourself up, and then eventually you wipe out all of the invaders. So it's like an RTS game, in a way where there's this early game, middle game, and then this end game where you're just destroying the enemy. So if you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I will see you guys in the next video.